I'm a guy that's 25. Lego Star Wars is my life. I like Rian Johnson. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here, back again with another video, and this is going to be my review of the set number 75300 Imperial TIE Fighter. This is a 432p set and retails for $39.99 US. Whenever I heard of this new wave of Lego Star Wars sets, specifically with the X-Wing and TIE Fighter having considerably lower price points than what we've came to experience from these sets, I was kind of concerned. I was like, man, how are they gonna shrink these things down to try to meet these price points when we've gotten sets that are almost double these prices as of late, and those, you know, were pretty decently scaled from what I thought. The X-Wing, if you watch that review, I thought, you know, did a pretty good job at shaving $30 off the price point of the last one, but still feeling like a good X-Wing. This TIE Fighter, however, I think this one is probably the embodiment of the fears that I had with Lego trying to go for a lower price point. But I think if you're able to get over just the proportions of it, if you look at this and you say, hey, that looks like a good Lego TIE Fighter to me, I think you'll be happy with this set. I think if you dive a little bit more deeply though, and you care about the proportions, this might let you down a little bit. First thing I want to mention right off the bat before we get into the review is the top hatch on the front of the box is backwards. Those black stripes should be facing the other way. So I don't know how that happened, but this is the front of the box and this is the back of the box. Now let's get into this review. First things first, we'll look at the minifigures. We have a TIE Pilot here with the silver stripes on the face. I find it interesting that Lego is doing the ones with the silver stripes so often. I feel like I have more of these than the standard ones without the silver stripes. It is a cool figure, so I don't mind getting it, but I think I probably would have preferred to have just gotten the standard TIE Pilot without the silver stripes in this set. But otherwise than that, it still looks very good. You know, all the details are there. This is just a very good looking TIE Pilot. If you remove the head, you can see he's not having angry clone face, just another generic face, which is good. Lego is still committed to phasing out angry clone face, which I appreciate. This is the back of the minifigure. Looks pretty good. Moving on to the Stormtrooper. What is there to say about this Stormtrooper, man? Is this thing is still controversial. It seems people are still complaining about it, saying it looks like the Family Guy Stormtrooper, saying, oh, the old one is so much better. Well, hey, I didn't do how long was that video? Like a 7, 8, maybe 10-minute video breaking down on why this is the superior Stormtrooper helmet for you guys to still be out there saying that it's not. So if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. I love this figure so much. Like, this is just looking at it, the details, the depth in the eyes, just the overall shape in it, the fact that it's dual molded, I think is so nice to me. Is it perfect? No, not by any means, but this is definitely a step in the right direction, and this is my go-to Stormtrooper. I'm taking this one over the old one 10 times out of 10. Next up, we have the one unique figure in this set. This is an RA7 droid, and it's cool to get one of these because the last time we got basically an updated black version of this was in the Death Star set. So it's nice to have this in a pretty cheap set, 40 bucks, awesome. And he also has like colored printing in the wires on his abdomen, and that just looks really, really nice. I think if you were doing some sort of Imperial mock, you got, you know, a few of these TIE Fighters, your mock would really look nice having a bunch of these RA7 droids walking around. So this is total thumbs up figure from me. Like, great job, Lego. The head mold looks awesome as always, and those colored wires are on his lower back as well. So that looks pretty awesome. But let's jump into this set, shall we? And now on to the TIE Fighter. I want to preface this by saying a lot of my specific criticisms of this set really just have to be with me really caring about the proportions and the overall look of this thing. Like I said earlier in this video, if you look at this and you see, you know, Lego TIE Fighter, and I think you'll be happy with this set. It has all the things you would expect from a Lego TIE Fighter, you know, like you have the details on the wings, that looks good. You have the cockpit that opens up, it works well. You can take your TIE Pilot, sit that boy up in there, and he's good to go. You know, close him up, boom, like it's a TIE Fighter. It looks like a TIE Fighter. But there's just a few things about this set that are kind of an eyesore for me that I really just can't get over. The first one being the proportions of it. I think that the wings are far too close together. Like, there's not enough space between the cockpit and the wings are also just far too small for this set. Like for a cockpit of this size, the wing should be bigger, like much bigger actually. I can actually pull up a photo. I basically just took a TIE fighter, like a picture of this TIE fighter next to an actual TIE fighter from the movie, and you can see like if the cockpits are like the same size, the wings should be much bigger on this thing. And I think that's really the reason this falls short for me. Like, I don't think I have unrealistic expectations for this set, right? Like, I'm not expecting it to have the quality of a MOC. Like, I would never expect that of a Lego set. Sometimes we get that, like you see a Slave One, and that's awesome. But I would never be like, oh, this thing doesn't have all the details I want. It's a bad set. But one thing I think Lego can absolutely control, and Lego can absolutely, do with a playset and still have it be realistically a Lego playset, is to get the proportions right. And I think that's where this set falls short for me. Just looking at it, I just can't get over how small and stubby the wings look compared to the cockpit. Like the cockpit is mostly the same size as the previous version, the TIE Fighter, but the wings are significantly smaller, which really sticks out to me. So with that being said, that's the reason I'm not a big fan of this set, but I think there are still a lot of people who are going to look at this and, they're going to not be concerned with how well proportioned the wings are to the cockpit. They're going to see a $40 TIE Fighter and they're going to be happy with it. And I think that's totally fine. I think Lego did actually a really good job with the details on the wings. Like there's a pretty clever way that they use this like 1x2 piece right here with the rounded plate. And it's, kind of angled on this, and that's what they use to connect this 1x8 tile to a stud here and a stud there, and it links up perfectly. It gives you the correct angle for the design on the wings. And I thought that was some pretty interesting geometry and how that all worked out to really give you the shape that you want for the details in these wings. We flip the TIE Fighter around, we can get a look at the back details. There are two spring-loaded missile launchers. I keep mine out because I don't want to hurt myself while doing these reviews. And honestly, there's just not too much to say about this set. I mean, it's a TIE Fighter. It looks like a TIE Fighter. It's recognizable as a TIE Fighter. But me, someone who looks at a lot of TIE Fighters pretty often, just being so, into Star Wars and into Lego Star Wars, the wings just look so small to me. I think if the wings were just a bit bigger, like even if they had to sacrifice some detail in the cockpit, even if they had to sacrifice some wing detail, I think that if they just made the wings bigger, like even like with the 4+ TIE Fighter, they used, like basically one big wing piece. Even if they had to just make a new mold, there was just one big piece to keep the part count low, I think that would even be desirable just to really give this thing the correct proportions. Like the X-Wing doesn't have that issue. I think the TIE Fighter does have that issue though. I think the nicest thing I can say about this set is it looks good enough as a TIE Fighter that I think a lot of people probably won't care about the proportions. A lot of people are gonna see $40 TIE Fighter and that's gonna be an instant buy for them. And that's fantastic. Like that's one of the things I definitely commend Lego on with this specific wave of sets, is just making like iconic Star Wars vehicles like X-Wings and TIE Fighters more accessible to people. I think that's going to result in a lot of kids getting sets, like X-Wings and TIE Fighters that either have never gotten before or would not have gotten one otherwise. So that's really cool. And that's going to finish up my review of the TIE Fighter. I'd love to know, what are you guys' impression on it? Are you happy with the proportions of it? Does it really not matter to you? Are you just happy for a $40 TIE Fighter? Or are you like me and those proportions really do stick out to you? I'd love to get a pretty good idea of just how you guys generally feel about this set in the comment section. If you like what I do, go ahead and support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.